want to do first?
Can we start with the Bach?
Yeah.
And you can have the music.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you need it?
No,
Okay,
no, no,
okay.
that's fine.
Then, like, right here.
Alexander technique?
Yeah, I actually did it for a year, and
Okay.
yeah, a couple
You're
years
doing
ago.
everything you should be. Okay, good. So, when you heard, I mean, I totally believe you that it's probably just a repetitive thing, but it's kind of all related. Do you ever feel like any tension at all across here or back?
Sometimes, like, a lot of times I'll feel like here, maybe like counterbalancing the violin.
Yeah.
And
That's what I see. I see like here and like.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
A little bit.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
And
yeah.
anywhere else?
I mean, usually like when I'm practicing, I'll feel it here, and then like if I ever feel pain like in my forearms, I'll stop.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't want to like exasperate anything, but sometimes it'll come like here, and also like right here. But like definitely also back. I think that's like also like contributing to like my forearm pain.
You can look into, if you've done an Alexander and you feel like you understand the principles, how the body works, okay. You could try Pilates, or better yet, Feldenkrais. Have you looked into that?
Oh, no, I haven't. I've heard of it though.
Richard Good, who's a very famous piano soloist, told me it saved his life.
Oh, really?
He was in so much pain he thought he was going to have to stop playing. He's a big solo career, and he started the Feldenkrais, and it's like a cross between sort of Alexander and yoga and Pilates is how I could best describe it. But it's a lot of about a lot of strength, not with weights so much, but strength kind of stretches and moves and things to that start from the core, which is what it has in common with Pilates. And it's helped a lot of people. And if you're in Boston or near Boston, you are, right?
Yeah.
I think you should be able to find some really good Feldenkrais people. And I think that when Richard Good tried, Alexander was like only moderately helpful, and he tried some yoga. His wife is a big yoga person. It's like moderately helpful. But when he did the Feldenkrais, he told me it absolutely changed his life. And he still does the exercises to this day, and he has no problems.
Oh my gosh.
This was
That's amazing.
15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That might, especially if you're having this kind of tension up in your neck and all, that might really help.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. Thank you so much.
Check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Feldenkrais or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People told me about it.
Check that out.
Mentioned it. Yeah.
Absolutely check that out. So, can you put your violin up on your shoulder before we talk about the music? We will.
Yeah.
Just. And when you put your violin here, let's do it slowly so that you don't get any sort of normal habits happening that you're used to. You put it here like this. Good. And now, I want you to, just don't do anything yet, but just feel like you're going to raise it like this without any of this, so that it's totally from the arm here.
Yeah, it might be a little low in my shoulder.
It could be. And so that is the goal, that this shoulder underneath stays just relaxed and flat. And yeah, if you're shifting, it can move in and out, but it shouldn't, or it can do something for a second, but then it should rest. And if you're feeling like you have to go like this to support the fiddle, this causes so much pain, but not here. Where we feel it is here.
Yeah.
And that would mean that maybe your shoulder rest is fine, but you need an extra red sponge on it, or maybe you need a different, or it could be a higher chin rest. But generally speaking, I think you're better off, instead of with the height on top of the fiddle, I think you're better off with the height under the fiddle.
Okay.
But you can experiment.
Yeah.
I do have a teacher at home who's willing to experiment with you.
Yeah.
And sometimes in the violin shop, some of them, they know what they're doing too. There are people there who can actually help you with setup. Sometimes they don't really know. So you have to ask, is there anyone who specializes in setup? But I would investigate something where you can, and try, even if your space isn't completely filled in. Let's see if you can don't even worry about your head.
Okay.
Let's just go like this, and put your arm up like this. And as you raise your arm, good, okay, it looks okay. But no, it's fine, just did it. Okay, good. So as you're raising your arm, just feel like this relaxes down. Yes, right?
Yeah, I definitely feel sometimes like it comes forward. Yeah, I guess probably up a little bit, but I definitely notice like it comes forward a lot. Like
Up,
kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want that.
Yeah.
Right, so you're gonna just stick it here,
Mhm.
and just raise it up, and as you raise it up, feel like, this will relax back down, and don't put your head, because
Okay.
when we put the head, that's often when we go like that,
Mhm.
right? And then you can take your head, turn it just a little bit, and really slowly put the head down. Right. And your shoulder actually looks different to me from how it looked a second ago when you were
Okay.
playing or a minute ago.
Mhm.
Does it feel any different?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm thinking like.
So always turn, if you, I just saw you just kind of go like this, like down and turn. You always want to turn and then down. And then you will not have as much tension. If we just kind of go down and turn like this, actually try that one. It's just put your head down
First and then turn.
and turn and feel what happens here. And turn it more if you need, just to kind of feel the difference. Exaggerated.
Oh yeah. Like,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now turn a little bit and down. What does that feel like?
It feels like I need to kind of work less to make the violin stay up.
And you won't have this pull over
Mhm.
here. And so that's, if you're used to just kind of like doing it all as one motion,
Mhm.
that's actually something every time you put your violin up, you want to do really slowly for quite a while.
Yeah.
Until you build the habit. Turn a little and then hold. And that's really different from anything else.
Mhm. Yeah. It almost feels lighter.
Yes. Exactly. Okay?
Mhm.
So that's a really big thing. That's one of the biggest things, and then the shoulder to be relaxed here, all right?
Yeah.
So you can go home and investigate all those things. And I would definitely look at the Feldenkrais too.
Okay. Cool.
You're trying so many things, I know. But
Yeah.
but that for more than just Richard Good has been a lifesaver for a lot of people. So let's look with the music. Okay. I'm sure that you've played like just the tune and just the bass.
Mhm.
And what were you doing when you were playing just the tune?
I was focusing on like connecting the line and like making bigger phrases. Cause like
Okay.
sometimes like when I play it with the pulse underneath, like it'll start to sound like kind of plotty.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Still sounds spotty.
Okay.
It's really nicely in tune and everything, but let's see if we can play in the top with the idea of freeing up the bow speed, the way you use the bow. So we get a lot of expression from the bow and a little vibrato.
Mhm. Just the top line.
Mm-hmm. So do it again before you play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. Think about your head, think about your shoulder. And then what I saw when you come towards the string was this little bit of like raising of the shoulders. So just try to feel like this is here and relax and hang your elbow. And then lift your arm and let it relax. And therefore, go ahead, that's great. So your muscle over here is like really well, good violin muscles developed. That's actually, to me, that's a little concerning.
Oh.
Can you just feel like instead of holding up,
Mhm.
that this actually just rests, and that
Mhm.
your fingers will rest here a little bit
Mhm.
lightly, and then it might spring back a little,
Mhm.
right? And that you don't have to do that to it, right?
Mhm.
And so you are relying mostly on your vibrato, and your bow is like that, kind of even and sticky. Try a lighter bow, and it's okay if we get a little bit of banana note kind of thing in bird music. So like almost not vibrating, and you see there's still a lot of expression in it.
Mhm.
See if you can just try that a few times with your bow.
Okay.
Try once with no vibrato,
Okay.
just to hear how much your bow's doing. than just using the whole bow all the time and then just trying to get it heavier. Think that you can kind of play with the amounts of bow and a little of the weight, but not as much. So a little less bow, a little more. That's better. You hear how now it's starting to have a little glow around it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. And then when you vibrate, use the vibrato to kind of enhance what you're doing with the bow. So if your vibrato is like all the time like this, it won't enhance it. You think I'm pulling the bow, so I have a little vibrato. I like this note, so I want to make sure that one has some, right? And otherwise less vibrato. So it's changing kind of with the bow.
Mm-hmm.
That's really beautiful. Really nice. Now, we may have to separate the bottom too, but try it once just with the bottom together.
Okay.
And I don't worry about the evenness of the bottom or anything. I just want for you to be able to do that while you play some bottom.
Okay.
Okay? So make your bow do the same thing. Don't worry about your bottom.
Okay.
Okay, so that was partially successful.
Yeah.
Right? So one of the things that you did when you played it without the bottom was, first of all, you were more flexible here in the way that you changed the bow, and that made it more lyrical.
Okay.
And you also were willing to vary the bow speed a little more. Do it like you did it. And don't worry if it's a little bumpy or a bottom note comes out fine. We'll fix that after.
Okay.
All right? Just get the feel of the top.
Okay.
Do just the first note again like you did without the bottom. No, you had a little more
Oh, okay.
swing through. And so if you pull like that, that means the way you play the bottom won't be exactly evenly divided half and half, right? More of it comes just after the beginning of the note.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time you get out here, almost, you'll be playing your second note. And that's okay. It's going to sound better that way anyway.
Okay.
No more time. Pull the bow. Now you're like, I have to play 2 notes. Boom. Pull. Yeah, like you did before.
Okay.
Caressing it. Don't worry about hitting both notes together, honey. Because as soon as you have to play 2, you're like, you don't have to do that. Remember that feeling? Just do that one more time. Right. Start to go a little slower, and you pull. And now with 2 notes, it's the same. Just do that. One more time, John. Try to feel that same sort of
Yeah, yeah.
swell in it. That's right. Yeah, do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Do a couple times.
The same thing I
Yeah,
did.
just
Okay.
the note. That was great. towards the end of it. Out here, and it's okay.
Mhm.
One more time, just gentler on the beginning. Yeah. Less bow, now more bow. And we would never go in the Baroque, even though this is a tritone, we would never go da da ta. Generally for the Baroque, the harmony comes in on the beats, and so therefore we stress ta da dee, because the harmony changes here, right? So even though you want to continue ya da dee mom ba, is that way.
Okay.
Gentle, gentle. Yeah, that's actually much better. Do it again. And really think about when you played it alone, like where you used less bow, and just do that here too. That's a lot more beautiful. Get the idea?
Yeah.
So, play the melody alone. Free up the way you're using the bow, and go pare down the vibrato. Get rid of your vibrato for a minute, and just make it beautiful in how you use the bow. And so that means varying the speed and letting it blossom in the middle a little bit, which creates that kind of glow, right? And figuring out where you need to use less bow, so that then you can open the phrase and use more bow. You have to figure that out in every phrase. Here I pull faster, here I use a little less, whatever it is, okay? And then really try to just get that, do that 5 times if you need, 6 times, doesn't matter, 10 times. Get it in the feeling of your bow arm, and then add the other notes.
Okay.
And don't worry about keeping them. They're not supposed to be like that. So that brings us to the next thing. If you were a cellist playing the bottom, would you be accenting every note exactly evenly the same way?
No.
No. Generally, these things come from the downbeats. Yum bum 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 bum. They start to get lighter, right? Then if they change notes, yum bum 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 bum. They shape a little bit. And so if you want to play the bottom as if you were a cellist trying to make the shape of the phrase, that's also a good thing to do. Because it allows you to realize that even though that thing, many people call it a heartbeat, it doesn't have to be like,
Yeah.
right? So that was great. Do you want to try another phrase?
Yeah.
Just to try? Okay, so just let's start this phrase. Just play the top.
Okay.
Let's go on all the way to here.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. That's fine.
I should look at the music.
That's
It's
fine.
like it's weird without the bottom.
Yeah, it's weird a little bit. And you know, when you start it, you might think that the idea of two slurred is important, and it is, but as you go on, we get the idea already. And so you can think a little longer. And really find those places that you think are beautiful. They don't have to be the same as mine necessarily. So you're using that's fine. It's really good. But don't go from la da 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 da, because you're using exactly the same amount of bow and everything.
Okay.
Okay? Try some places less. That's the idea, right? And if you look at some of you, you're not playing harmony at the moment, but where are the places in this phrase where the harmony is most unusual or suspended or surprising?
Like the tritone here, maybe.
Okay. What else?
Maybe here.
That's an interesting chord, right? Because
Yeah.
it's so long until it resolves.
Mhm.
And even another one of those right here too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Those moments are a little bit poignant. So can you do that again and think of those chords there? Really good. And I like your rhythmic freedom, and it's going to be fine if you keep that, even with the bottom voice.
Okay.
Right? So let's add the bottom voice, but just really think about making it feel that just as free and just as artful in the bow. Feel the phrase, and then did you just go when you played it alone?
No.
No. All right. Less bow, remember? You actually, the tritone's interesting, but you used less bow on that spot when you played just the top part, right?
Okay, yeah.
Maybe not being loud enough for now. Just do it one more time. When you get to all those big chords, don't press.
Okay.
Okay? Just think that you're going to pull the sound out. Much better. Can we just practice the end of it? Just here. You're not worried about having to get there. Just pull the chords out gently, and as much time as you need.
Okay.
Play that without the chords. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so I'm kind of like going to the A and not the E, I guess.
Or you're kind of going to the F, really.
Oh, yeah. Should I do it with the chords?
Okay. Almost. Do it again and give yourself the same time to be expressive across the F to the A that you had alone.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that much better.
Yeah, really nice. We'll put a whole phrase.
Mhm.
like you're worried that you won't play your top on time or something, and so you cross really fast.
Oh, okay.
And you just don't always have the control. That's why you want to think of just gently pulling them out.
Mm-hmm.
And some will take longer than others, you know, so I find that maybe with the open strings it's not quite as hard. Get them. But if you do that one the same way, it tends to go like that, right? Even at the point that it doesn't have to be. That one takes just a little more care.
Mm-hmm.
So, before the last chord, just feel like, that you can turn the hand really slowly and make sure that the weight goes back on this part of it. Not too heavy either, but just that it doesn't go like that. If you're feeling the string with your first finger, it's going to crunch a little bit.
Okay.
So feel it with this finger, but gently.
More like that. I don't know.
Do that again. Kind of, you can glide over the top, you don't have to really stay on. I would never try to just stay, because it's going to make it clunky. There's a little air in the turn.
Okay.
Good, and then relax the hand here, that's it, just relax and then gentle. Actually play the G string alone first. And gently. Better? Do that again? So that feels very horizontal. This.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do that one more time just to feel it.
Okay.
By itself. And then horizontal. Not downward, just this way.
Okay.
Pulling. One more time. A little gentler.
What was that?
Gentler.
Okay.
And then just try the da-dum, bam. That's the idea. Yes. That was pretty.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. And so that brings up another thing, which is that when you play your chords in Bach in particular, but in life in general, you don't always need to play them exactly the same way. And so when you play your chords, I find that you always play two notes on the bottom, you always play the two notes on the top, and you always roll exactly da-ya in rhythm, right? You don't have to. And so you can experiment with that. You know, some of them, if you're thinking it's a much stronger chord, then I would probably play maybe two notes and two notes. But if you're thinking it's a little gentler or a little rolled or something, playing the bottom by itself, it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and it just seems to make that one roll really nicely. And so you can do it and hold it a long time. You can do it and hold it just a little. You play the bottom and then two and two, or you could just roll through the whole thing. You have a lot of variety open to you.
And do you think, like, since I repeat the first part, like going through the first time, I should do like a different way than the second time, or?
So in general, in music, we do that sometimes. in this particular movement, I wouldn't change a whole lot. If you change it, because the character's so specific, you know, if you're repeating a minuet and you do something really inventive the second time, it's like minuets, characters are so malleable, you could do a lot of things. And something like this, I would say you could perhaps not crescendo in the places where you're crescendoing quite so much the first time and do a little more of it the second time, or vice versa, right? You could start it softer the second time, keep the whole thing gentler, but I wouldn't like really try to make sure the chords are changed and all of that. Yeah.
And also, do you think like when I play the C alone, should I vibrate it, or should
Well,
I kind of more like with the
yeah, a little bit, but again, so in the Baroque when we vibrate, it's a little bit different from sort of the sort of modern aesthetic of vibrato. So what we learned for the last 120 years was that you should always vibrate, and that you should vibrate right away on the starts of the notes, right? And so we try to do that in our Prokofiev and our Tchaikovsky concertos, and we try to get that vibrato to zing out. And in the Baroque, vibrato tends to start a little bit later on a note often, and it goes through the middle and tapers out, kind of like with the banana bow thing, right? The vibrato has an envelope. An envelope is like it's what we call the length of the sound. And so it has an envelope that often will start a little later and develop a little bit in the middle of the note and then taper out again. And so if you want to go long with the vibrato, that's fine. But to have to go duh right on the start when you're trying to get a nice gentle bow approach, no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
And so in general, if you find your expression with the bow like we were first, remember, and then we said, and then you add a little vibrato in on your favorite notes or places where you feel like it really helps the sound blossom, that's a really good way to do it. So you use your vibrato to help the sound and help the bow, but not so much for connection between notes like we do in later music.
Okay.
Okay? This were a Schumann melody, I'd be like, between every note you have to vibrate. It's a really different aesthetic at that point.
Yeah, and I feel like the piece can kind of breathe more also when like you're using less vibrato and more like bow speed.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. So I would go through it like that, phrase by phrase, and make sure that you really have experimented with both the speed and the amount of the bow, and then add the ballad voice back in, and don't worry about keeping it exactly like it's not a value that we have, even though yes, it's a heartbeat kind of thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was like super helpful.
Oh, great. Do you want to just try a little Prokofiev?
Sure, yeah, I can just do that from the beginning.
Good, very good. So this is kind of like the opposite of the Bach.
Yeah.
And whereas in the Bach, I was trying to get you to like free up and not be afraid of the, letting the sound go and that kind of thing. In the beginning here, you're actually kind of, I'm exaggerating, but you're doing that kind of stuff, and I wish you wouldn't.
Okay. So kind of more like.
That you create a sound world and just stay there for a while. You can a little bit, but have you looked up the vocabulary?
So I don't know.
Sognando.
I'm not sure.
How could you play the piece if you don't know what the words mean? Sognando, it means dreamy.
Okay, that makes sense.
You have a phone, don't you?
I actually don't. That's
No?
my mom's.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, always. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
no, but I have a laptop. I can look.
You can look it up.
Yeah.
It's like so easy. I mean, I used to have to like go and buy a dictionary, like an Italian English dictionary, or like seriously, whenever I started a new piece, it was invariably in college, it was on a Sunday night, and the library was closed. And I'd be like, oh, darn it! I don't know what these words mean. And I'd be like calling up my mother, Mom, do you know what this means? Could you look it up for me? Do you have a dictionary? Or running to the library at 9 a.m. when they opened on Monday morning. Because you really got to know this stuff. And now it's like, it's so easy. You pull out your computer or your phone, you look it up, and no one does it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
yeah,
strange
I know.
to
I
me.
should have done that a long time ago.
You're not the only one. But yeah, you should. So dreamy. So that means you want to create this mood that just is really kind of hovering in this dream world for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what this melody wants to do. You got to be careful of a few things. One is that if you pull the bow suddenly, sort of, it jolts us out of it. And the other is at the bow changes, like here, you want to make sure that it just kind of keeps going with both hands through them, because yours are a little that way sometimes. So that means when you change bow here, you want to hold on loosely, but not do too much, because that will bump it. And never use too much bow. Right there?
Oh, yeah.
From the B to the F sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the beginning was beautiful. Exactly. So you can still go up and down, but it should be really gradual with no bumps.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Just go there. Yeah. Slow bow changes. it, Carly. Yeah, that's key. That the bow just never goes too fast suddenly, or when the bow changes are slow, and that you vibrate through them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then as you crescendo, and yada, then of course becomes much more forceful. You don't have to worry about that anymore. But for a long time, even if we go up and down in dynamic a little bit and make some phrasing, you can still spin this out. And that's when this is really beautiful. Also, just the way he makes the accompaniment, it's just sort of like hovering there, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions about anything?
I don't think so. I think most of my questions were in Bach, probably.
Okay. Anything about the school or?
Oh, about school. Oh yeah, I was wondering, like if you apply, so I know like pre-screening recordings are due by December 1st.
Mm-hmm.
If you apply like a lot earlier than that, does that help? Okay. Because I know for like Indiana, they said they like accept on like a rolling basis or something. I don't know, but
Maybe. We have enough spots
okay.
that it's never. As a matter of fact, when the office gets them early, they don't usually even send them to us.
Uh-huh.
I think it helps them. It doesn't really help us. And you'll pass the pre-screening. That's not a problem.
Okay. And also, would you consider like next year accepting me into your studio?
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to come really strong and healed. That's the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any question of that, if you can only practice summertime like 2-3 hours a day, and then that's your absolute limit, you should not come.
Okay.
You should take another year and just slowly work your way back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to defer or whatever you need to do, because you need to come here knowing that you can withstand the amount of playing that you're going to be asked to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you need to practice 3 or 4 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And you need orchestra rehearsals, and you need quartet rehearsals. And all
Yeah.
that. So you got to be really strong.
Mm-hmm. And also, I was wondering with Eastman, like how flexible are they with orchestra? Like if I'm
Not.
able to play a lot, they're not. Okay.
They're not. That's
Okay.
the thing, is that you need 4 years of credit of orchestra. And so for kids, if they're really injured, they'll take maybe a cycle off or a semester off, but then they have to stay.
Oh, just for the
do-
orchestra?
Yeah. Many of them, are, if they're doing something at U of R also, they're staying anyway, but some of them are not, and then they can't graduate on time. So if you're really hurting, you can get out of maybe one concert for every semester, so it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't give you credit if you got out of half the semester or something, so they're not very flexible. And most schools are like that. Not completely, but mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I said you gotta come knowing that you're okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hopefully things will work out. Yeah, I'm like really excited about this.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I hope so too.
Mm-hmm.
But if you need more time, you take the time, and then they'll still work out.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares
Yeah.
if you graduate 1 year later?
I know, like,
lots
honestly,
of people
it won't
take a
matter
gap
in
year
the end.
anyway. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter in the end.
Mm-hmm.
You'll still win your orchestra audition when you're meant to, or get your solo concerts and win this competition when you're meant. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a year later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of try. It's hard, but try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely.